by my new best friend, Mr. James Lillquist. James, outside of having to wait for a guy to look like the Hulk at the gym, how are you doing today?
Oh, that was great. You know what? It's always fun making fun of some shirt puffers.
Just
It's
man,
good.
I thought we were there. I thought we were there to stay in shape, not try to make our way to the NFL.
Well, I mean, he's trying to do something there. I don't know what it is. I mean, Robert Frank has made it okay to be, to take the trim and then do the superset. So, it's all right.
Just man, just man.
As I'm making jokes in the chat.
This man, James, we are actually on a bonus episode right now.
Yes.
You and I started talking about rivalries that were coming back this year, and one of the ones we talked about was the backyard brawl between Pittsburgh and West Virginia. Also, on a side note, I just spent an ungodly amount of time of my life rewatching the '07 West Virginia Pitt game. I learned two things that day. One, if Pat White doesn't get hurt, West Virginia probably wins that game. And Pittsburgh won that game with the most vanilla game plan, turn around and hand the ball to LaShawn McCoy.
Which, I mean, do you blame them? I mean, it was shady.
It was, but this was freshman year shady. This wasn't senior year or NFL shady.
It was also, if I remember correctly, that was at Pittsburgh, right?
Yeah.
And that was in November. So that field
and
was
our good friend that we like to watch, Pat McAfee, was the kicker on that team.
Yes.
3 field goals, which again, different story for a different day. But that sparked this episode as we sit and talk about underrated rivalries. Now, I went to the book face this week and I said, hey guys, we'll give you some underrated rivalries. Some people understood what I was asking. Other people said Oklahoma and Texas. I got Michigan State. And I also got some good ones. I feel like this is underrated if you're not an SEC guy like you and I, the Egg Bowl between Mississippi and Mississippi State. I enjoy watching that. That's a Thanksgiving night bowl game that I will always watch.
Absolutely. See that superseded LSU Arkansas for me.
Yeah.
If you remember those, that used to be the big Thanksgiving game, and then the Egg Bowl just took it over. Right. And it's not just because of the dog urinating on a hydrant.
Oh my God, that was hilarious.
That was that whole game. The dude looking at the camera and waving at the camera was
hi mom.
Yeah, he hi moms it, and then just to make sure that they up the game, they bring in Lane Kiffin and the Pirate for it.
Hashtag Mike Leach expanded playoffs. If you know, you know.
Absolutely, God, Michael. I still thank him for Michael. That Michael Crabtree game against Texas was amazing.
Oh my gosh, that was great. We're gonna play a little trivia here. I have 3 different rivalries. 2 of them are the same name. They're considered the Border Wars. Can you give me one or both of those games?
See, I always mess up Border War and Civil Wars.
Okay.
So I jack them up terribly.
Okay.
And so I'm going to admit that I will suck at this.
Okay.
So,
I'll give you the first one, which is going to be the harder of the 2 to get. Okay. Colorado State and Wyoming.
Okay.
Their rivalry is considered the Border War, and I had somebody post it to me on Facebook. The other one, my hint's going to be an old Big 12 rivalry.
That wouldn't be Kansas State, like Missouri or something. Or Nebraska.
Kansas and Missouri. So
I always forget Kansas in the Big 12, and I don't know why.
But that was in 2007 when they were good in the Big 12.
Yes. Thank you, man. Thank you, the man genius.
Right. And Tommy Reesing, shout out. Second episode in a row, we've actually mentioned his name. I think that's a record for number of times Kansas has been on any show that's not specific for Kansas.
You know what? I'm going to bring up 2007 Maryland here soon. So
okay, that's all right. I appreciate that. These 2 teams play for the Wagon Wheel. Any idea who that is?
Oh, I heard this one. That is it like TCU and no?
Akron and Kent State out of Maction. How do you not know that? We're Maction fans here.
Yeah, I understand that. However, I don't understand all the little trophies they got. However, I do have one on my list that is underrated, and I think it's just because it's the wackiest trophy ever made.
That's what we're here for. I had Jacksonville State and Troy thrown at me, which next year when Jacksonville State comes to the FBS level, that'll probably be renewed, and also Montana and Montana State at the FCS level.
Montana State is really good. People don't realize that's the big. It's not. It's the Big Sky Conference.
Yes.
So like they actually got some really good football out there with the Washington
Absolutely.
schools
Absolutely.
and the Montana schools and there must be. I think there's like a Wyoming school in there too. There's
Wyoming is in the Mountain West.
No. There's another. That has to be another one. I think. I don't know.
I'll have to fact check you on that one, sir.
No, fact check me all day long.
I'm going to let you kick us off here. What is your first rivalry?
My first rivalry, and it's because I'm going to go complete and total home show here. I was a little lad when I first watched my first Nevada versus UNLV game.
Right.
And it's for a old cannon from the frontier times.
Right.
Named after General Fremont. And it's called the Fremont Cannon. And here's the greatest thing about it is it's not only Civil War tied because the Rebels versus the Wolfpack, Nevada or UNR, how I like to call them, are blue, and the Rebs are of course red. So whoever wins the game gets to paint the cannon.
That's awesome. Awesome.
And luckily, more times than not, it's been freaking blue. So as it should be.
Historically, I feel like Nevada's had a better football program than UNLV anyways.
This is true. This is true. Even though everyone loves on UNLV because of Las Vegas, and they always get to go to the higher conference first because people don't care about Reno, which, to be honest, even people in Reno don't care about Reno. So it is the worst little city in the world.
Just saying.
So that's my first one.
My first one is going to be self-explanatory. They play for the Dakota Marker, an FCS rival, North Dakota State and South Dakota State.
Which game day went 2 or 3 years ago.
3 years
they
ago,
went there. Yes.
This rivalry has kind of popped up more recently with North Dakota State winning 11,000 championships in a row. And South Dakota State got good in the last 3 or 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
They usually play each other in the regular season and then somehow always find each other in the playoffs as well. You watched a game, I think it was last year they played in Fargo.
Yep.
You ever get a North Dakota State home game, that atmosphere is so good that even if you're just watching it on TV.
The only thing I hate about the Fargo Dome is that guy that yells, "It's another Bisons!" and they yell first down. It's like, I'm like, come on, this isn't high school, guys. Come on.
Don't hate on the little guys, because if North Dakota State came to the FBS level, y'all all be screwed.
My pro team quarterback is from North Dakota State University, sir.
Mr. Commanders over there.
No.
Oh, the 49ers. That's right. Mr.
Absolutely. Trey Lance, baby.
Wow.
Trey Lance.
All right, Mr. Lilliquist, what's your second rivalry you would like to talk about?
My second rivalry is another one that's close to home because my wife has ties to the University of Utah. And I'm going to go with the Holy War.
Thy Holy War.
I love the Holy War. It has so much weird connotation because everyone thinks Utah, everyone thinks Mormons. However, Utah is considered the sinner college that they don't have the Mormons in there. So it's kind of like the rebellion against the empire.
Yeah, I love watching that game as well. That was a hell of a game last year.
Oh God, the game where when BYU had Zach Wilson at quarterback, and that they went out to like a 21-point lead, and then Utah stormed back. That was such a good game.
Also, shout out Tanner Mangum, who spent like 11 years at BYU.
Hey, you know what? They have to go on mission. You know, they have to go knock on doors and sing the Book of Mormon. Okay.
Look, I also love the scenery.
Oh, it's beautiful.
BYU Stadium is beautiful.
And yeah, you get both. Provo is a really beautiful town, and it's got the mountains and everything. And Salt Lake, which I've been to many times now, is a beautiful city to go to. It's picturesque. It might be a little dry, but that's the only thing you can say about it is it's a little dry. But the views, the mountains, and everything is great. You know, with all the skiing and everything. So, and actually, I loved that Salt Lake was one of the AAF teams, and that's what made me so sad when the AAF had to close.
Man. By the way, the USFL just finished. Did you watch that championship game?
Of course I did. I watched it, even though Birmingham won, which made me sad because I don't like anything good happening to Alabama ever.
Doesn't matter what it is. You can't do it, huh?
No, it'd be like if someone team in Gainesville won a championship. Would you be happy?
It's been a while.
It's been a
It's been a
while.
while since I've had to think about that.
It's true, but I mean, yeah, okay. Like
Also,
Aaron
the
Lewis once
longest
said,
team in Knoxville has won it, so that makes me equally.
"Hey,
Oh, I'm so sorry. So sorry.
oh,
Did I touch a nerve there? I'm so sorry. Here,
sorry.
turn around. Let me take the knife out of your back.
Yeah. Here, just sew up the kidney that you just shanked. All
Absolutely,
right,
I got you.
the prison check. All right, what's your number 2?
I have another FCS rivalry. They play for the Governor's Cup. It is Eastern Washington and Montana.
Okay.
What is the one thing everybody knows about Montana? Or excuse me, Eastern Washington?
That eyesore of a field.
They play on the beautiful red turf up there. Story time on the red turf.
Okay.
Did you know that Eastern Washington and any other team that wants to have their field any color but green has to get Boise State's approval? Did you know that?
No, I did not know that the Albertson Field was that daunting.
Yes, because something about Boise State, I don't know if patent's the right word.
It would make sense. Yeah.
It would. And so now any team that wants to do that has to get Boise State's approval to have any other color turf besides blue or besides green.
So I think it's always funny to watch a Boise State game when they decide to go full camouflage out
Blue
there.
on blue.
They go all blue on a blue field. It's like, really, guys?
The one thing that I think always hurts my eyes is blue, and they do like the orange uniforms.
I love the orange uniform, though.
Yeah? Okay. All right. A couple of things I want to touch on this. It's always very physical. I got to watch the game last year. They've had Eastern Washington is perennially in the top 5. Montana's program is up and coming, so it's always a good game. You had Eric Berrier, who just left there last year. Vernon Adams left there to go to Oregon. That's when he was a quarterback at Oregon. He transferred to Eastern Washington. And I believe it was in one of Mike Leach's first or second years at Washington State. Eastern Washington beat Washington State.
Yes, they did. So
that's my second underrated rivalry.
I enjoy that rivalry because them two and Weber State always play like in snow.
Yes,
it's always snowing, and I love good snow games. All right,
yeah. We don't get enough of those in college football.
No, we don't because, well, I mean, honestly, the
good football is always played in warmer weather because, but that's a different story for a different day.
Exactly.
Thanks. Third rivalry.
And this one's going to be a little bit more known, but I love the trophy in it, and that's the Paul Bunyan Axe of Minnesota versus Wisconsin.
And up until recently, Wisconsin dominated that rivalry.
Yes, but then Mr. Boat Rower himself came out there, and PJ Fleck, he went out, he came from the MAC, and
family, forget about me, I love you. What his family stands for.
And he went out there and rode the boat, and he's been getting. Minnesota is actually a really entertaining team to watch now.
They are very underrated in the Big Ten.
They are, and they're the ones I feel like if the Big Ten West is ever going to be good, they're going to be the team that's going to try to elevate them because they need that. You need another team outside of Wisconsin or Iowa.
I agree. Because the Big Ten West has all of them besides Rutgers and Maryland. So,
Exactly.
Right.
All right.
Yes, that game has always been, and it's played up north in colder weather. It's usually a very physical football game.
And it's always played in like 10 degrees or below.
Absolutely. And you see everybody's breath, and then you got guys like us out there like we're in Florida, just in the jersey, no sleeves, no nothing.
Yeah. So I have a friend. He goes to every single 49ers game, and we were joking because he went to the wild card or the divisional round game this year between the 49ers and Green Bay in Green Bay when it was like snowing and blizzarding, and we joke he always does shirtless during those games. He goes shirtless, and I was saying like, do you feel anything? He goes, I didn't start taking off the clothes until like the fourth quarter when we needed to rally. And he has the best picture of that Robbie Gould kick. I mean, in the snow and everything. But yeah, I was calling him, joking with him the entire time, like going like, "Are you numb yet? Are you numb yet?"
Eventually those nipples had to be about frozen off.
Oh, those things can cut diamonds. All right.
All right. Just the way these conversations go, you can never tell where we're going to end up.
Oh, I'm a maintainer, dude. It goes straight to the gutter.
You talk up north. My next rivalry is in Florida, so we're on separate ends here. It's the war on I-4.
Okay.
UCF in South Florida.
I like that one too. It's always a good game.
I love that. We sit here, we talk about Max Shin, and we talk about the Fun Belt. USF probably since that crazy 07 season that we seem to always be talking about with Matt Grothy as their quarterback. Shout out Matt Grothy. I've always kind of watched South Florida, and I followed them even coming off 3 wins last year.
I know their head coach didn't do anything outside of FS or excuse me, USF. But he I mean, like, he's always a good assistant coach, but I'm like, no, he's a really good coach. If you saw what he did at USF before Charlie Strong came there, I mean, he was amazing.
And they've got Baylor's quarterback Gary Bohannon transferring in.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I think it's good, and I'm really excited for those guys aren't they one of the Big 12, the future Big 12 schools?
The UCF is.
I thought they were tagging along too.
They were in contention.
Okay.
Like Memphis, USF, and like Boise State would have been, and maybe SMU would have been the next that they would have took in.
Sorry to sidetrack our conversation, but I can't wait for them to be in the Big East in a few years.
Listen here, okay? If you know, you know. That's an episode we do later. I want to talk about the UCF side because I feel like they're going to surprise some people this year. Gus Malzahn, good old Gus Malzahn, is the head coach there with no pressure on him compared to what he came from at Auburn, with an SEC caliber quarterback transferring in. So I'm definitely excited to see what UCF is going to do. So I'm looking forward to this game. This is usually a Black Friday game.
Yes. This is usually the day after Thanksgiving game.
Yeah, this is usually what I'll play on Black Friday.
I've always thought UCF had one of the better situations of the quote-unquote lower-level schools.
Right.
Because they're in Orlando.
Right.
And
you can recruit that market alone and be okay.
Yes, you could just recruit that market and be good. And it's in a nice little area in Orlando. You don't have to stay in the campus area because they don't have dorms. Or they don't have a lot of dorms. So it's in a really good situation. And with Florida being down, with Miami being down, or Florida State being down, or as you say right now, all 3 being down, except for Crystal Ball is starting to recruit.
He's building something down there.
Yeah, he's got to still build it. UCF's in that position where they get to go to the big conference in a few years. I feel like they might take the shine from some of those other schools, and it might not be the same.
Would you be surprised, and I'm going to sidetrack you from that really because we're still talking about UCF. Would you be surprised if I told you UCF had the highest enrollment in the country?
No, because their online program's really good.
Yeah, they are 71. I was watching a video, 71,000 people enrolled.
Yeah.
So, but yes, as you said, UCF has the resources. They're in Florida. You're going to open up Texas even more, moving to the Big 12. So I agree with you there. I do believe you give UCF, especially if they keep Gus Malzahn, you give them, 5 years. I believe Rhett Lashley. It is Rhett Lashley. No, Rhett Lashley is his best. Chip Lindsey. Yeah. Chip Lindsey's his offensive coordinator this year. And he was also the offensive coordinator in Auburn when they won the national championship.
So, he was, and he was also one of the candidates for Jeremy Pruitt's offensive coordinator when that turned into a what show.
Can't win them all.
Can't win them all. However, I love talking UCF because they're one of the few programs. I mean, look at their last 3 head coaches.
Josh Heupel and now Gus Malzahn.
Yep, and their ADs get poached, and they still get the ball rolling.
And their fake national championship. Different story, different day. James,
we'll talk about that.
What is your 4th rivalry game that you feel like is underrated?
No, in this one is just for pure because it's out west. It's weird. It's always been funky, and it's always been a good game, even though one of the teams really bad. And that is the civil war between Oregon and Oregon State for the wooden platypus.
First of all, shout out to platypuses. Didn't know you get a reference here. Oregon State is building something. Last year they beat Oregon, But it seems like most years Oregon just takes them out back to the woodshed. But every so often, Oregon State will sneak up on you.
They have, and I really feel bad because everyone talks about Oregon because of the Phil Knight money, and poor Corvallis doesn't get any recognition for being an absolute gorgeous campus to be at.
Their stadium is beautiful as well.
It is, and it's great. And I feel like they've been kind of looked down upon by everybody. That's why I call it an underrated rivalry, because nobody cares about Oregon State. And
no, they don't.
People should.
They don't. The most attention Oregon State ever got was the year they beat USC.
Yep.
With
oh gosh.
What is his name? Pete Carroll was the head coach.
Yeah.
And Matt Leinart was the quarterback.
I forget who was. That was 2008. It looks like.
Okay, so that may not have been him. That may have been.
And who was the running back that spurred all those touchdowns?
You got me.
That'd be Jacquizz Rodgers.
Oh, the former Atlanta Falcon, now Tampa Bay Buccaneer, I think.
Yes.
Oh.
So you had Lyle Moveo as the quarterback.
Because his brother played running back. Jacquizz Rodgers, his twin brother played running back there too, I believe.
Yes, he did.
So there's a little bit.
And it wasn't Leinart. It was the greatest quarterback in Jets history.
Hashtag Mark Sanchez butt fumble.
Exactly, the greatest play ever on Monday Night.
Hashtag Mark Sanchez. All right,
the Sanchez.
I've got one word for you. Farmageddon. Name that rivalry.
Farmageddon. Well, I mean, you've only got so many choices. Is that Kansas State? Is that what they call that?
No, that is the. What is that? Something dumb. This is Kansas State and Iowa State. This is purely on name basis alone. Also, Kansas State could be a dark horse to win the Big 12. But
hey, they got that North Dakota State coach that
again, Chris Kleiman. But again, different story, different day. This one was purely on name alone, but it's also a great game. This is a game that if you've got nothing else on that you're trying to watch, you put on. Kansas State has that Bill Snyder physicality to them.
Mm-hmm.
Hashtag Colin Klein is their offensive coordinator. If you know, you know. So half of this was on name alone. The other half of it was these are two, upper echelon Big 12 teams.
Especially with what Matt Campbell's doing at Iowa State.
I'll be interested to watch them this year. They're going to have a new quarterback and a new running back.
Yeah, but I feel like he's got the ball rolling where it doesn't matter who it is.
Also, I was listening to some recruiting stuff. They have, I wouldn't say a kid, but this dude's more like a monster. He's like 6'6", 240 committed. I can't think what his name is.
Is that this kid from like from California? Europe or something like that?
No, this guy's from California.
Really?
I don't know. But anyways, he's a 5-star. He's committed to Iowa State to play quarterback. And I was listening to him, and he sounds like Cam Newton all over again.
Well,
so
and great thing for NIL, he doesn't have to worry about getting that money.
That's what some of these, you worry about. And this is again a different story for a different day, but I'm going to touch on a little bit of it. I feel like NIL is going to level the playing field because you're going to get paid wherever you go.
Yep.
What's your next rivalry?
My next rivalry, and we're going to the Maction. We're doing some Maction here, and this one's purely on. I absolutely love the trophy, the battle for the Golden Stalk.
Okay.
Which one is it?
Akron?
No.
Okay. I'm going to get about 3 more guesses and I'm going to be done.
Right.
Central Michigan.
Nope.
Okay. Ball State.
We got one.
Ball State. Kent State?
Nope. Northern Illinois.
Illinois. I love Northern Illinois too. How did I miss that? If you say, "Hey, what is your favorite team in the MAC?" That is it right there.
I love their uniform. Their uniform is like one of the cleanest in the MAC ever.
Yes.
I mean, I've always
done some beautiful things with a simple NIU on the helmet.
Exactly. And for me, so my MAC team has been because I did a baseball camp and I had this coach from the University of Ohio.
Okay.
And I've always liked the Ohio Bobcats.
They do pretty good on their uniforms with just Ohio on their helmet as well.
Exactly. We don't need to. We're very on this show. We're going to be very pro. Keep it simple, stupid uniforms. Okay.
Well, I don't know.
Unless you want to go just completely to the wall.
Yellows are one of my favorites, so I don't know if we go keep it simple, but
Well, hey, but when you don't want to keep it simple, you better go all the hell out. And
there's no middle ground.
No.
You don't get to half-ass it.
No.
You either do it big or you do it clean. You don't get no.
Yeah. Either you go full Maryland and put the entire dang flag on your uniform,
yes,
or you go simple.
Man, that was terrible. By the way, I hate.
No, I love that. I love that uniform so much. I love it.
But yes, Northern Illinois is my MAC team. Also, speaking of Northern Illinois, their head coach Thomas Mack got inducted into Northern Illinois Hall of Fame this year.
Ah,
so I don't know if you knew that was his alma mater.
No, I did not.
He was a running back. Also, Michael Turner was a running back at Northern Illinois. I don't know if you knew that.
I remember Michael Turner.
And hashtag Jordan Lynch for Heisman, but I feel like we're way too late for that.
So late.
My last one, you might get. This is kind of in your backyard. It's 100 Miles of Hate.
That is that Middle Tennessee and no, I'm forgetting it.
Western Kentucky.
Ah, yes.
I also have an affection for Western Kentucky. I don't know how this happened. And a guy with a mascot.
It's the mascot.
It's the Hilltoppers. And also shout out Jeff Broad, who's the head coach at Purdue, who built that program.
Yes.
And then sadly Bobby Petrino redid his image. But anyway, and I had a guy I went to high school with went to Middle Tennessee.
Okay.
So
I love Murfreesboro. I love that area.
How do you hate when your logo is a Blue Raider? Okay. We have the Red Raiders at Texas Tech and the Blue Raiders at Middle Tennessee.
That entire logo name and everything is so funky. It's not even funny.
The Middle Tennessee State Blue Raiders.
Yes.
I hope you got about 10 minutes to write that out because that's about what it's going to take.
Well, I mean, like just how, like, you know where they got the Raider from, right?
Just man.
the whole, and because he's got he had a statue on I-65 in Murfreesboro.
But Western Kentucky is usually competitive in the
yes.
USA.
Yep.
And Middle Tennessee's kind of been hit and miss lately. But also, James, did you know both of these teams came from the hashtag Fun Belt?
Yes, they did.
So
I remember when they were in the Fun Belt.
We are pro Fun Belt. If y'all haven't learned in these episode and a half at this point.
Well, my extra ones are one of them is in the Fun Belt. So
and one of them's in my backyard. James, what is your last one that you have for me, sir?
Well, the last one, we're going to the Fun Belt, baby.
We love the Fun Belt. Woohoo! Bells and whistles. Bells and whistles.
Bells and whistles. Appy State versus Georgia Southern. Statesboro versus Boone, North Carolina. I love that game so much. Both good schools.
If you take an overhead view of Boone, North Carolina, where that stadium is there a more beautiful surrounding?
In October, no.
In that stadium?
In October,
because you've got they're basically surrounded by woods, so it's a beautiful, and you've got the mountain and the field. You've got the black, the gold. You've got the gold around the field. And then they've got the grass, light, dark, light. So it's just a beautiful, and again, their logo, the big A. It's so simple. It's beautiful.
Actually, I love their older one too, with the freaking Mountaineer.
The App State with the Mountaineer on it.
Yes.
Hashtag 07 App State.
Exactly. That actually started my love affair of App State, and then just the Boone being just one of the cooler little towns that no one knows about. The mountains, when the leaves change, it turns gray. You know, it's just like Knoxville in the October. I love it. I love everything about it. And the baseball field. Their baseball field's also very good.
I haven't seen that, so that's something I'm going to have to go look at.
Yes, because I mean, everyone talks about Georgia Southern in baseball, and that's in Statesboro. You gotta love
I
Statesboro,
would say
Georgia.
their stadium is like I would definitely prefer App State football stadium over the baseball. But Georgia Southern's baseball is just neat to look at
It is
because
neat to look at.
their monster is in right field.
Yes.
So that's why I think it's cool. And they just hosted the regional.
Yes,
so everybody got to see that stadium for 2.5 days.
I want to know how bad those people, like when Texas Tech showed up and the people driving them to the stadium were like in ATVs and stuff.
I just felt bad for Georgia Southern. I know Tennessee had a rough regional.
Yeah. Oh no, they got hosed.
But Georgia State had Texas Tech, Notre Dame, and UNC Greensboro.
Yeah, which I was bad because I thought Greensboro should have came to Knoxville instead of Alabama State.
Man, but again, different sport, different story for a different day.
Yes.
I definitely would take if you get a chance, go look at an overhead view of App State's football stadium. It is beautiful.
Most of the Fun Belt schools have wonderful stadiums. I love Coastal Carolinas and Myrtle Beach.
Well, the only thing I don't like is, and Georgia State Stadium is not very creative. They bought the baseball stadium around here when the Braves moved, so they've kind of made that look better.
I think it looks great for what it was.
I mean, I agree. But it's not the scenery. It's in downtown Atlanta. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have the scenery around it that some of these other stadiums have. That's mine. But yes,
Troy's stadium is.
Yes, absolutely. Even South Alabama.
Oh yes, the USA the Reese's Senior Bowl is always played there.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things that it just doesn't have the scenery that some of these other stadiums have.
Oh yeah, no, it doesn't. But I think what they did with Turner Field and how they transformed it, I think it was great. They did a wonderful job with it. I do agree the location sucks, but it's Atlanta. What are you gonna do?
The same thing you did when the Braves were there, not shit with it.
Now
I know I've been to many games there. Getting on MARTA there is terrible, but again, different story for a different day. All right. Well, that sums up some underrated rivalries.
I have an extra one.
Okay. Well,
I have one extra
rivalry on a bonus episode.
Okay, so bonus rivalry, and it's because it's also another one near and dear to my heart.
Okay.
Because everyone knows about one of the legs of it, but no one talks about the other leg of the Commander-in-Chief Trophy. Everyone talks about Army Navy,
but nobody remembers that both teams play Air Force.
Yes, everyone has to play each other every year, and you play for the greatest trophy of all, the Commanders-in-Chief Trophy, which is, and the president of the United States has to give this to one of the teams.
So I'm going to say two things on that. First of all, shout out to all those athletes because most of them will not go play NFL football, and they will go serve for our country. So shout out to you. Thank you for that. And second of all, this is all the realignment I'm going to get into today. The one thing we know about realignment in college football, Army, Navy, and Air Force will always play each other every year.
Yes.
And you and I will talk about that before we started this. We know one thing is this Commander-in-Chief rivalry will still happen.
Yeah. Well, it has to happen because knowing for personal experience, the officers have to talk about each other's schools like it's no tomorrow. It gets extremely annoying, especially when Annapolis shows up. Because, West Point's insufferable. Like, they really are. I can't say much bad about my bosses. However, they can be insufferable. Don't get me wrong. The Air Force Academy guys are they're pretty highfalutin, but I've got a friend that actually has one of his sons there at the moment. So, but Annapolis, oh boy, when they come down, and it's just I like the scenery. I like where West Point's at. I love that the Air Force Academy's game is is at Colorado Springs, and it's in an old looking stadium in Sea Springs, and it's like a family atmosphere there. And then Navy plays in their stadium, and then they also go to don't they play in in DC as well?
Yeah, so they play in Baltimore.
They play in Baltimore. They also
in Stadium.
Yep, and they also play in Philadelphia, which is also great.
Philadelphia,
which is the worst stadium ever, but hey, we love it.
Well, thanks for joining us this week. Come Sunday, we're going to have our ACC preview.
Oh boy!
You want to? Hey,
Meanwhile, we have no news going on about them right now.
No, we're not going. We're not doing realignment. James, give me a preview of something we're going to talk about on the ACC preview. That's not conference realignment.
That's not conference realignment.
Right.
I can't wait for Florida State to name Deion Sanders head coach.
Okay. I am going to talk about how I think Virginia is going to be a dark horse to win the ACC. So make sure you guys join us on Sunday as we preview the ACC. For James, my name is Caleb. Thank you for joining us this week. We will see you in a few days.